Hello everyone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unmute everyone because I want to be sure that you can hear me. So all everyone should be unmuted right away. So if you've got your mic muted, uh, please unmute. Okay, hi Tosin. Tosin Giwa, can you hear me? Can you
Hi,
speak?
yes, I can hear you.
Right. How's it going? How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm good. You?
I'm good, good. Where you joining from?
Burlington.
Arlington. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Thanks for joining. Hi, Ugochukwu Justin. Ugochukwu, can you hear me? Okay, not a problem.
I can.
Uh, Suna, I'm really sorry if I murder your name. Just pardon me. Can you hear me? Hi guys, can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah. So you can hear me.
I can hear you as well.
Okay. What's the correct pronunciation of your name?
Tonna.
Cool. Cool name. Cool name actually.
Thank you.
Really cool name. So we're gonna be starting very soon. I can see Mercy, I can see Odun, I can see Benga, I can see Taiwo. uh, I can see Tosin Ogon and okay, we should start right now. So thank you very much, guys, for joining the online info session today. My name is Bola Adeshokwe, and I will be hosting the webinar today or the info session today. I just want to spend 1 or 2 minutes, maybe three, to talk to you about helping other people succeed, HOPS, what we do, and after which I'll hand you over to our major facilitators, Olu and Dami. Can you see my screen though? If you can see my screen, please just wave your hand. Oh, great, great, cool stuff. Thank you. All right, thank you, guys. Okay, so this is my agenda for my own session. It's just going to be 5 minutes or less. 5 minutes or less. I'm going to talk to you about what HOPS is about, what we do, our coverage, uh, and we'll go into the facilitator sessions, and then we'll do question and answer. So HOPS stands for Helping Other People Succeed. It's a social enterprise that I co-founded with my brother and friend Taiwo Abraham, who is also joining in. And what we do basically is to provide some bit of support, some bit of help to professionals in a number of fields or career options. And to be able to do that, we've identified coaching, we've identified mentoring, we've identified periodic online info session and webinars, something like this. We've also identified mock interviews, we've identified um, speed mentoring, job referrals, resume development, subsidized training, and all of these things for people to be able to help them to succeed. These are our coverage areas. We have strength in business analysis, project management, change management, agile and scrum, business intelligence and data analytics and entrepreneurship. And we hope that very soon we'll be able to expand our coverage. We have on our portal or on our platform a number of mentors and coaches that work with myself and Taiwo in helping other people. So I'm going to stop now and I'm going to make Olu a presenter. And Olu, you can take it up from there. Olu will tell you about himself. He's one of the industry leaders in business data analytics and business intelligence. He's worked in England, in the UK, and in North America. He works with one of the largest telecommunications company here in Canada. Um, so Olu, you have the floor. Um, I've made you a presenter
All
right now,
right.
and I'm gonna just so you can share your screen and take over.
Okay. Thank you very much. One sec, please. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, we can, and I
Oh,
believe every other person too.
awesome. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ulu Kayode Shuayo, but people just say Ulu, which is good enough for me. Okay. Uh, One thing Bola did not mention is many of the things that he said sounds very, very big, and you'll be thinking the person behind that name is someone very, very big. You won't know it's someone that is very, very tiny. So I'll take what Bola said back a bit. I don't know what he meant by leading the leading industry, but I think I'm fine with that. I'll go with that. Okay, so um, with me today is Dami Shubayo, who happens to be my partner, and she's got experience in data analytics as well. So I'll walk through a few of the slides. She will join me in answering some questions. The ones that I can't answer, she will be able to answer. And if she's not able to answer, then I'll be able to answer. But at the end of today, I hope I'll be able to satisfy some of the questions that uh, you had before now. So data analytics and business intelligence. I do not want you to see these two things as two different things from the beginning. When I walk through the slides, you get to understand better and much more clearer. So I'm moving on to the next slide. Just one sec, please. Yes. So I'll be covering these four key things today. What is data analytics? Why is analytics important? What is the future of analytics? And how can I get into analytics? Or possibly, how did I get into analytics? Or how did Dami get into analytics? Okay. Yeah. So I managed to squeeze out some kind of definition here. And I started with saying, put simply, meaning that look is just few baby steps that makes you do great things or big things that helps industries. So analysts extract and manipulate raw data. Now the first two keywords, extract and manipulate, um, appears to be very technical, and to be honest, they are very technical. Then identify trends and present key insights. So presenting key insights is come up in green, meaning if you do a data job and you are not presenting any insights and you are not getting any insight from it, then you've not done your job. Then all of this helps strategy development and decision making. And to be honest, at some point in our life, we make decisions. You made the decision um, to join this meeting this afternoon, but then in industries, you make decisions based on things that you know or based on things that you can see coming. Okay, I hope I was able to explain that slide enough, or you want me to take it again? Am
I
I
think
going to get a response?
I think what can happen is as you progress, when
Yep,
people have questions, they can
yep,
just use the question tab to put in their question.
yeah. I know I might be very, very fast, so I will just take it very slowly. We have enough time, so and my slide cannot take more than 15 minutes. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions here.
Yeah, just continue. I guess
Yeah,
when you're
so
done, then we can take the questions.
great. Okay, one sec. I'm moving to the next slide. Okay, I'm sorry this might be very, very slow. Trying to move to the next slide and it's not responding. Okay, one sec, please. Okay, apologies. The slide is not moving. I don't know why. Please hold on, guys. Hi, everyone.
Okay, we're still
So
here.
while I'm trying to do this, Dami would introduce herself. Then I'll be able to move my slide around and see what is going on with it. Thank you.
Okay, hello. My name is Dami Shobayo, and I'm manager analytics for Scotiabank. Just while Olu is trying to get that together, I'm just gonna tell you what I've been doing, a bit of what I've been doing. So, data analytics came to me sometime in 2013. Where I met with a guy who is like one of the leading persons as well in the industry. He worked with IBM and blah 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 and all those things. My plan was to go into project management, data analytics, and all. But because I'm an IT person and I love data, I decided to go into that. So my experience, I started being a marketing analyst, and when you hear about analytics and all, you sometimes might feel it's quite a bogus word, but trust me, it's just our normal day-to-day activities that you do. The only thing is you have IT tools that will support you in doing those things, and you have to be logical. Like you have to be able to put one plus one together to say this is going to give you two. Just like Olu was explaining with the definition, it's just extracting data, you're manipulating data, all these things you're doing it with a tool, which would help you to then, create insights that would help the management to make decisions, or sometimes you can make recommendations to them. So like I said, I worked as a marketing analyst for Payview Analytics just for a little bit, and then I moved on to work with CapQuest, which is now Arrow Global. Everything that all these industries are in the UK. Arrow Global is a debt collection agency. Is a third-party debt collection agency. Now I know when people think about debt collections, you just think about people who stay on the call and just make a call and say, "Oh, pay your debt." But it's more than that. There's a lot that goes behind the scene where you have to look at the traits of a customer. You need to be able to reduce costs while you're trying to collect. You need to be able to predict if someone is going to pay or not, if you were going to waste your time on the person. Every one penny that you spend on the person, how much is it going to give back to you in return? Those kind of things are like answers that are the questions we answer as an analyst when I was working with Arrow Global. At first, I worked as a reporting analyst, just reporting on the performance. Like you take the data, break it down, try to find trends in it. Okay, probably January to March, we did 10% of our target. By the time we moved to December, we did more. What's the reason? Probably seasonality, those kind of things are what I dealt with as a performance analyst. I'll give it back to Olu now. I think he's gotten this slide, and then I'll come back later to tell you more about myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Dami. So I'm not sure if you can now see my slide. I think I'm able to move it forward now. So
Yeah, Chelsea.
yeah, because we have two different things, I really want us to be very careful here. So data analytics was the definition I mentioned earlier, and all it does is about extracting meaning from raw data. Now, data is a very, very strong language that everyone uses, but of course, it's not the 3 gig of data on our phones. Data would go as far back as looking at history. So if we look at the call logs that you have made in the last 5 years, some system somewhere would have something like that. all the calls that you have made in the last 5 years would have something like that. Apart from that, I'm sure that at some point we all visit Walmart and all of those. And each time you visit Walmart, you make transactions, and all those transactions are logged somewhere. And by the time you know it, we already have a big volume of data, and that is why you will be hearing languages like big data, big data, big data, big data. But data is actually data. Now, to make sense of that, what you now do as an analytics person is make informed decision from those information. And it doesn't even stop at that. You can even predict what can happen in the future. And now everyone uses this a lot. To be able to do all of that, you then need a tool. So if you look at my next statement that says business intelligence represents the tools and systems. So it is a tool and system that you use to refine, manage, and transform all of this information, which is data, that is actually called intelligence. Because by the time you use those tools, the tools will be able to help you to streamline or to bring out light out of or insight out of things that we do not already know. And a good example of that, which might even amaze you, is I'm sure we must have heard of Alibaba. They have over 175 million transactions in a day. And now we've not even talked of what's it called, Amazon and all of that. But then they are able to make decisions using all those data that has been gathered way back to make informed decisions. And so I believe I've been able to give a simple explanation about what data analytics is and what business intelligence is. It's not as if they are totally different from each other, but then it's about the tools and the systems that you use to refine the data I just talked about. I'll move on to the next slide. This will be a bit of in-depth, but then I want you to look at this slide from on my own side is left to right. It might be right to left on your own side, but start from the places that says data sources. And now, each time you take an action, I'll give you an example of an action. And so an example of an action is the Walmart example that I gave earlier. If you buy a plane ticket, the dates you flew and all of that, all those stores are stored somewhere. And when they are stored, they might be stored on a platform called Excel files, flat files, SQL database, and all of that. And those places are sources. But then when you have those sources, it does not make any sense to you. It's just a big volume of dirty data. Now, dirty in the sense that every information on there is not relevant. And so, as an analyst, what you do is what we have right in the middle that says data flow. You then validate this data, then clean up this data. So those two things at the top, I want to quickly explain it. I'm not supposed to go in depth, but then it will give you a picture of what I'm trying to say. So if someone writes date of birth as 2301 2000 20019, there's already 200 in the middle of 2019. So what I'm trying to explain is sometimes what you want to log in as data is 2019 and you are written 20019. So already you would need to validate that and clean it up. Now that example I gave is a very layman example. We have worse things than that. But then these are the kind of dirty jobs you do as an analyst. You get this transformed, you get it aggregated, and you'll be able to make simple statement like 50% of those who voted are ladies. Now, the only reason you can make a simple statement like that is because you have seen a big volume of data and you are able to make specific assertion about the data that you have seen. You are able to say that in the next 5 years, the rate of abortion will go 15%. Now, those statements are very, very strong. You can only say it if you have done due diligence on data and you have some facts. Now, apart from saying it, you can present it to look like what we have on the right side. That is where you see charts, graphs, and some kind of visualization that explains the data that you have digged down into further. And that is where the buzzword business intelligence comes from. It's possible for Bola not to see any data at all, but is able to read that the volume of people that voted for a particular party, or the volume of people that transport themselves to work by bus will be about 15% less in the coming year. The only reason why it will be able to look at that picture and say something like that is because it's looking like what a layman can interpret. And that is where the word intelligence towards to my right comes from. I'm sure I've said that in a very, very rough way. When we get to the question and answer section, you'll be able to ask me specific questions. I'll move faster than this. So now, why is this important? Canada data analytics markets would have close to 43,000 jobs by the year 2020. And I understand that everywhere in the world, they are always short of data analysts. And the reason is because gathering the skill requires some extra, possibly extra strength or some kind of diligence to acquire the skills. But then it's not as difficult as the way you say it. But then again, the revenue that will be generated will be 1.8 billion. I feel that is huge, and is rated the fourth highest demand sectors. So again, I was going to mention what kind of revenue, or sorry, what kind of paycheck should you expect? If you look at the bottom part of my slide, for an average pay for a senior analyst is 73K Canadian dollars. And if you're coming in at an entry level, you will probably be looking at between 55, and I can bet this one for sure, it will be between 55 and 60. Now, what industries would you be able to work? I would allow them to talk through this slide.
Okay, thank you, Olu. So, what industries would you be able to work in? Like every industry now makes use of data. Now, imagine how much decisions a company can make with data. I will take, for example, Olu was talking about Walmart. I'm not really sure about here because I've not really been getting their campaign letters. But in the UK, a lot of the times you just find in your mailbox, Tesco is like Walmart. Tesco will send you a letter, and then put a campaign sheet in there. And then you realize that it's like some of the things that you've bought probably in the past 3 months. So, for example, someone that gave birth, I gave birth in the UK, and then at some point I bought Pampers. Within 6 months, they started sending me Pampers for 6 months old babies. How did they know that? They already have the data, and they're just forecasting for me and saying, okay, you bought this in the last 6 months. Probably, okay, you bought this, you bought some clothes. The amount of things you bought is probably more than someone who is just gifting someone. So probably you are the one who gave birth. We're going to send you this and put like a voucher in it so that you can buy it. So they're just not sending the campaign, but they're also like trying to inspire you or like make you make that decision. And that's what campaign is about. So in every area, every sector, banking, telecoms, government, every form of financial industry, because collection agency is also a financial industry. Even the immigration. If you go online, you can find data analytics role for immigration sectors. You find it for auto, like retail services, everywhere. There is no industry that doesn't need data. Every industry needs data to make one decision or the other, no matter what, no matter how small. They will definitely need it. Now, some companies are probably too small to probably acquire data analysts to sit down, and then they probably just model up all the roles together and say, okay, you're a project manager, but you also look into our data, but the data is not going to be as huge as companies like probably Scotiabank or something. Imagine Scotiabank not having enough data about their customer. Everyone will just leave. And sometimes we also even talk about it like, okay, if RBC is able to send me something that is personal to me. For example, RBC realizes probably I made some and data, all these companies, they share data amongst themselves. So RBC can realize that, oh, you've been trying to get credit through your credit profile, because through your credit profile they get data and they share it amongst themselves. So RBC is going to send you an email saying, oh, we're going to give you this credit card for this interest rate. How did they get to know? It's just about data. So every industry, in simple terms, every industry needs data, and they need data analysts to understand that data and to be able to make meaning out of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dami. So what I did not do at the beginning of the section is to introduce to you what I've done in the past and what I'm doing now, my past experiences. So I started off in the UK as well. I didn't know anything about data, and I started learning the basic ones until I did the much more advanced ones. And from there, I work with a consulting firm that looks at all industries. So, and I had the opportunity of working with retail, which is the one at the top right corner of my slide. I currently work with telco, and apart from retail, I work with a food and beverage industry, Nestle. So when I was working as a consultant, I really looked into retail, and I'll give you a very simple example, and we will just move on from this slide. With those simple examples, you will be able to tell, because these are things that happen to you day in, day out, but you just don't know it. I would use Bola as an example. Bola, if you walk into any of the stores and you buy cornflakes, buy cornflakes, buy another beverage, buy a bottle of soft drink, and all of that, and you come back in the next 3 weeks and you buy something that is slightly related to that. If you do that repeatedly 4 times, you are likely going to be offered a mix of the exact thing that you buy day in, day out. The reason they are able to do that is they are able to match your history. When you walk into a store, all you do is buy cornflakes, buy milk, buy sugar. And now, if they now find out that, well, you've been buying cornflakes, milk, and sugar, you've never attempted to buy a sweetener, they'll start to offer you sweetener. So that is one example. Another very deep example is in Canada here. If you go online and you search for basement to rent, one of the telco companies would offer you the third tier wireless product that we have, and that would be something like public mobile. How do I put it again? There's another one, Charter Mobile. The reason is because those ones are the cheaper ones. They are the reason is they are assuming that your financial status is of a particular standard, and that's why you live in a basement, and therefore they will match you with a wireless phone that fits your income bracket. You'll be wondering where the data is from, where the data is coming from, but companies know a lot about you, and they know a lot more than you can ever think of, and they share this amongst themselves. Now, and this creates job for us, financial, government, telco, and all of that. I'll quickly do up one that is government. The government can tell in the next 5 years, with the influx of Nigerians, Indians coming in, they know that the road 401, one of the road on 401 would start getting very, very busy. And they are planning ahead of time that in the next 10 years, our population is going to grow by 15%. How many roads or how many lanes should we build? Data is that big, and I want you to believe it. So, I'm moving on to the next slide. Okay, now what are the tools you need to put together to get into analytics? Some of them you've heard before, some of them you've not heard of it before. Excel is one that is very, very common. You would naturally assume that you've seen it before, that you used it before, but it does much more powerful things than you can ever think. But then, one thing about analytics is you need a combination of 2 to 3 of these tools to be able to work as an analyst. And some of them would be these ones that I have listed: SAS, Tableau. There's a big one called SQL, Power BI. And to be honest, we have a lot more. I've only been able to put this together. So what do you need? You need these tools, you need yourself, you need some dedication because of the technical aspect of it. And when you put these two together, it amounts to dollars. Um, Now, I want to go into what should job look like for you when you are looking for a job. I can bet every day when you search anything that's got to do with analytics, like marketing campaign analyst, insight analyst, predictive analyst, and all of that. We have loads of names, but then the tools are the same. The industry would be any of the industries, but the common thing that you would see anytime you search for this job would be something to my left that looks like I have it in green circle that says SAS SQL. Excel 2 is part of it. And if you look to the right side, you will find something that's similar. The second to the last bullet on my right side, the box in red, it says SAS, SQL, VBA, and all of that. Uh, Jobs would post descriptions like that has like 7, 8, 10 tools, but you are not expected to know more than 4 to 5 of it. And I tell you, this industry, the first one is banking, the one to my left says marketing campaign, the other one is Bell. Jobs comes out of every of these industries every day. As a matter of fact, a friend sent me a job description from the police department. They are looking for an analyst and they are willing to pay $150,000 per annum. So every industry, every kind of department, they really need to use data and analytics to be able to make informed decisions. Okay, this part again explains the kind of to my left, the kind of pay you should expect and where you should check from. Payscale is one website you can get this information from. Another one is Glassdoor, so that you have an idea of what you are getting into. And to be honest, the pay does not stop here. If you have 5 years experience in banking and you had a bit of analytics into it, it does not necessarily mean that you are getting into analytics at an entry level. No, it will be 4 years of your banking experience layered with the analytics information that you now have. So if you are able to defend yourself very well at job interviews, it's possible for you to start out from a level of 65K instead of 57K or 60K. And all you need to know is 3 to 4 softwares. That looks like the last slide. Questions. I think this should take a bigger part of our time.
Right. Thank you so very much, Olu and Dami, for that deep dive, I would like to call it. I'll just throw in few points to round up. So one of my favorite quote in data analytics is the quote by this great guy. He's late now. Edward Deming.
Okay.
He said, "In God we trust. Everybody else bring data."
Yep.
In God we trust. Everybody else bring data. So, for example, if you're going to an organization, if you're going to the management of your organization, and you're trying to pitch an idea to them, if you are not God and you're not God's cousin, they will expect you to accompany your recommendation or your pitch or your idea with data. You also see that the use of data, the manipulation of data is taking over a lot of jobs. I used to work in the financial services in Nigeria. I used to work in an investment bank. And in the investment bank or in the asset management company, they had some people that they call investment analysts. What those guys used to do basically is study the market, study the actors and the factors that are changing the direction of the market, try to understand the buying pattern, the investment pattern of investors. And based on those understanding and those knowledge, they then advise investors on the stocks to buy or the financial instruments that they should invest in. But before I left Nigeria, we started a project called Robo Advisor, literally putting in place a system, a machine that analyzes data of people, what they've been spending their money on, the way the shares and the stocks are moving, the things that are happening in the financial services industry, and putting all of that together and then sending recommendations, stock options to them with zero touch provisioning, literally eliminating the role of investment analyst or investment advisor. There are a whole lot of things that data will do. The other day, I went to Bari, and as I was getting to Bari, I got an SMS saying, "Hey, now that you are in Bari, these are few places that you might want to check." I was talking to someone about pizza. After that, just talking offline, not even chatting online or not even talking on the phone. I was just talking with a person about pizza. Oh, I like pizza. I want to eat pizza. Then I got to my system and I saw an ad about pizza in my location. I went online the other day. I just checked some books on Amazon and then I closed the website. And then I came to Gmail, my Gmail. And right on my Gmail, I saw some adverts about books that I had browsed from Amazon. All of this is data. Like nobody would come and tell you, oh, I think you should buy this. The engine will extract your data and then use that data to make some decisions. Organizations these days won't decide based on human feeling or gut feeling anymore. They will decide based on the analysis and the trend from data that they have or that they gather. Right. So we're going to start taking pictures right now. So, oh my goodness. We're going to start.
Yes.
We're going to start taking questions right now. So I have some questions here. If you have questions, please use the question tab to type your questions, and I will read them out while Ulu and Dami answer. While Ulu and Dami will answer. Okay, so I have to make myself a presenter to be able to do that.
Yeah.
All right, great. So my screen. Just give me a minute. I'm just going into the question tab, guys. Okay, so we have a question here. I don't know if it's a question. It says, can we get a copy of the presentation after the webinar? Yeah, so the webinar is being recorded, and by tomorrow or Monday, you should get a link to the recorded session. So someone says, very well explained. Thank you. Thank you, Olu and Dami. Someone says, Olu knows your life in Lagos. Damn.
I don't understand that.
Like with the data that you have access to, you can literally tell what they're doing in Lagos, where they live, where they work, the things that they do.
No, I think he's trying to say that the example Olu gave about yourself. I'm thinking so.
Oh, right. This is from Taiwo. Taiwo, what did you mean?
Yeah, it was from me. Olu was so spot on when he said Bola walks into a store, he buys cornflakes, milk, and sugar. That was Bola's life before God sent a savior into his life. Exactly. Everyday buying.
Yeah,
Cornflakes, Cocoa Pops, Rice
yeah.
Krispies, milk and sugar.
Oh, okay, I get that. I get that.
Now,
Smart
now
one,
we
damn it.
know.
Okay, so there's another question here. How steep is the learning curve for a newbie? Like, how long do you think you would need to be able to acquire the required skills and the knowledge to be able to transition into the data analytics, business intelligence space?
Okay. I think that one should be a quick answer, but then if Dami has anything to say, she would explain better. So my experiences would be different from Dami's own. I think Dami had a gradual process, like 1 month. I had a very short time. I had like 1 month to get myself set and start eating the pay. And so I had like 8 hours of training daily. But I've seen some people that did it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So this thing is logic. Just think about it. These are the things that happens to me daily. How does it come about? If you have that mindset and you are able to sit down and understand uh, how to write or use one or two of the tools. One good thing about it is if you know how to use one of the tools, then you are good to go. Another thing I was going to add is I do not have a certificate. I've never written any certification. It's good, and no one has ever asked me to produce a certificate since I've been interviewing for jobs, at least in 2 different countries. So I feel it's about the willingness to understand. It can be just 1 month of some hard work or 2 weeks of some hard work, and you are there. I don't know if that means experience is different, but I think it's about the person that wants to learn it.
Okay, just to come in a little bit there. So, just like I said, it's about the person. And I think also when you want to go into like analytics, you need to have a bit of flair for programming, a bit of flair for programming, because most of all the tools that are needed are like programming tools. So it's not difficult because SQL is like human language. It's just saying select whatnot from this table. But you just have to have that flair. Some people, they just don't want to like do anything like that. And for to be an analyst, you have to have a great attention for detail. Like every little detail, you have to have a great attention for it. That is one skill that I think is very important as an analyst.
Right.
So, but how steep is the curve? It depends on you, just like Olua said.
hmm hmm So that means that for some people, in 1 month, they can be on their way to becoming the baddest data analyst ever. And some other people, it may take 6 months. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, cool stuff. Cool stuff. I have another question here that says, how much of automation is happening in the industry right now that could potentially remove the need for data analysts?
So, sorry, I'm going to jump on that.
Yeah.
There's so much automation going on right now. I even heard about like computers that are able to like just spin through data and then just produce an information. But one thing I want to tell you is these systems can only give you information. The ability to interpret the information is where an analyst is key. And that's why I mentioned earlier, you have to have attention to detail or interpreting that information that you have based on the data knowledge. Because you can also say that the manager can interpret the data. However, it's someone who has gone into the data and has seen like the different, side of the data, be it structured, be it unstructured, that would be able to give you a holistic view. So just in short, a data analyst cannot be like stand out of job, no matter how much automation it is.
Right.
Can I add to that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, but I should be able to do that in two statements. So the industry is so big that it's difficult. When you play video games, there's an analyst behind it
Mm,
that calculates the real life and at what angle and at what spot Ronaldo is going to be able to score a goal and not be able to score a goal. And that exact scenario is simulated into even video games. Data is, you can't escape it. Another thing I would add is, if you are able to ask stupid questions and still find answers to them, you are already an analyst. And I'll just run that up in one point. So if you can question why your navigation will ask you, are you going home at 4 p.m.? Then you're already on your way. My navigation system asks me that. As soon as it's 4 p.m., the question comes up, are you going home? Because you've seen that I'm always putting my postcode anytime around 4 p.m. I do not think an analyst will be able to will go out of job in anytime soon.
Great. So someone says my background is in core IT, server admin. And I guess what the person is trying to then ask is it possible for me to get into data analytics? I hope so. The person didn't quite complete um, um, the person didn't quite complete this statement, but that's what the person said. My background is in core IT, server admin. Okay, if it's you, please, can you just update the question and we'll go through it again. Another question here: how do we acquire training in data analytics and business intelligence? Does HOPS offer training, mentoring, coaching in this field? Um, so I'll let Olu and Dami respond to the first part. The second one, HOPS as a social enterprise doesn't really do training as such, but we have a network of training providers that we can um, recommend, right? But I'll let Olu again and Dami respond to this. How do we acquire training in data analytics and business intelligence?
Okay, I'll give that a go. So you have to use different resources, but the one you cannot shy away from is, would I say, having a mentor or having a tutor that would walk you through your first month, first 3 months, first 6 months,
Right,
until you are well settled. So another thing is, someone has trained you. This is what you need to do: learn Excel, learn that, learn that. But it doesn't stop there. You need to understand what happens around you every now and then, apart from understanding the quiz that you write. The reason is because if you get training for 2 months, you are well grounded and you are not able to talk about what you have learned, then it's becoming difficult already. But then the best way to acquire learning is tutoring first,
mhm,
then mentoring. So
right,
someone that will teach you, this is what you need to do in
mhm,
details, some kind of details, and push you into the industry and still stay there with you for a couple of months.
right.
Uh, I'm not sure if I answered that well.
Yeah, I think so. So in HOPS, like he said, we can match you with a mentor. Yeah, but the mentor will not teach you the the tools. A mentor will not teach you how to learn all of those things. A mentor will guide you in other aspects, but you still need a tutor. You still need a training or a trainer to get you that. I'm sure you can contact Olu. I'm going to ask him to just Olu, if you can, maybe just put your email address and maybe your LinkedIn link and that of Dami also on a slide at the end of the Q&A so that people can look at it and then reach out to you if that's fine by you.
Okay. What if I type it?
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Another question: where can one acquire the required skills?
Mm, okay, maybe I should now answer it properly. So, like I said, you use book materials, you use training videos, you use all of that. But the best is someone sitting not physically with you, someone showing you how to get there quickly and faster.
Right.
So it's possible for me to consolidate something into 1 month training, and that is all you need. And you can be there for 6 months, and you don't have all you need. And that's why you can't take out the place of someone that would tutor you one-on-one.
Right. I agree. Okay, I've got another question here. How can one get very hands-on with SQL, Python, Tableau with a solid experience in BI? How can one get very hands-on with SQL, Python, Tableau with solid experience in BI? So the person has experience in BI, but wants to
Okay.
get hands-on with SQL, Python, and Tableau.
So like I said, we have numerous of them, and I only use few. So I use Excel,
Hmm.
uh, Power BI, Tableau, SAS, SQL, IBM SPSS. I've used about up to 7 of them before, but I mean, maybe I currently don't use more than 1 or 2 every day. And I think the same applies to Dami. She used SQL one time. She's now using SAS. She used Ultras at another time. But back to your question. So if you already know Power BI, it means that you are already in that field, and so you should not need a lot to get into all those ones. If you want self-trading, fine. But if you are looking at getting a job for it, you still need a tutor that will just show you 1 or 2 tricks in 2 to 4 weeks to get you a job. But then if you already know Power BI, Python and all those ones, you can find bachelors online or look for someone that is a master in any of those. But the ones that I use is SAS, SQL, which should be the leading ones in Canada, UK, US at the moment. Maybe R as well. But Python is very good, but is very rare. My company does not use it. I'm not sure about Scotiabank.
So just to top that up, I wanted to also mention that just like Olu said, these tools, there's actually a base, and then you can build on that base. So for example, I started with SQL, and of course you need Excel. Excel is your basic. If you can't use Excel, you're not an analyst. So Excel is your basic. We'll leave that. SQL was the one I started with, and I so much loved it. I hated SAS because it just seemed like so much problem for me. But one thing is, if you know how to write SQL, you can write SQL statements in SAS. So if I know how to write SQL, I can tell anyone I can do SAS because I can write SQL scripts in SAS. And it's also cut across all these BI tools as well, like I've used Ultrix in Scotiabank, Ultrix, Power BI, MicroStrategy. All these tools, they all use the same, like the same found. They all have the same foundation. They look alike. They feel alike. All you just once you know one, all you just need is probably like few hours with a new one, and then you will just be able to go with it straight off. So if you're going to go for a training, what I would advise is, pick the major ones in the different areas. So the different areas, I would say your basic base is Excel. You need Excel up to an advanced level. And then you talk about your SQL, you talk about your SAS. It's good to also have SAS because you can write SAS without SQL. And some companies will ask you that they want you to write proper SAS, not SQL, whatever. So you need your SQL, you need your SAS, and then you just need probably one BI tool. Let's say Tableau. Tableau is quite very common in Canada. Let's say Tableau. And then once you know Tableau, if you carry Power BI tomorrow, you just need probably 1 hour on it by yourself and you'll be able to do it.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I don't want us to forget that answer. So the simple answer is if you are going to Mississauga, you can always get there through 401, 404, 402. As in so many ways of getting into a particular answer. Just that you have so many tools and you cannot miss the baseline, Excel and SQL.
Right. Right. So I'll start with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a question right here. Someone is someone has been a BA in the UK but trying to get into Canada and wants to know if there are specific um, things he needs to do to prepare him for the Canadian market.
Um, I think the fact that the person is coming from the UK might put the person in a better place. Looking at my experience and Dami's experience, they tend to like the UK feel, but then you still need to be prepared. If you are coming in and you want to continue as a BA person, maybe Bola might be your right person. But then there's this thing that I'm seeing, and I saw it this morning again. You start to see something like business data analyst. And what they are trying to say to you is, if you're a data analyst, you need to have a flair of BA. If you're a BA person, you need to, sorry, better say, if you're a BA person, we need you to have some data experience. So that area is what you need to prepare for. Get a bit of analytics into what you already have, and boom, they should like you in Canada.
All right. So someone says, are there cybersecurity skills that you need to be able to function or perform or succeed in the data analytics and business intelligence space?
I, to be honest, I don't know what that is. I know what cybersecurity is, but is for what I've been doing in the last few years, is there's no connection. I don't know if that means got something to add. No connection
So
whatsoever for me.
cybersecurity is plain IT networking. It's different from data analytics, except if your data analyst going to work in those like networking core networking areas, but it's quite rare. Like they are two different fields.
Right. So this person was the guy who asked the question around. He said he's in core IT server admin and trying to know how to transition to data analytics. I'm not sure if that hasn't been covered, but if you want to just um, say one or two other things, how can he transition from core IT server admin to data analytics?
Okay. I think it's still the same answer. So let me assume that you are coming from yeah, coming from, so your field is economics
No, no, no.
and you want to get into analytics. My
Yep.
simple answer would be that you are already doing some kind of analytics as an economist, just that you don't know it. That's the example I give about government. How do we know the number of buses that should be provided for people in Mississauga? The simple answer is, how many influx of people do we have there at the moment? What's the road like and all of that? These are the things that politicians and economics do. The only thing is you are the person putting the numbers together, crunching the numbers and making sense of it. You should be able to say that in the next 5 years, we want to double the number of buses present in Mississauga to be able to commit people appropriately. So you're a cyber person. Uh, if you want to continue doing cyber and have analytics in it, it's possible. But if the job is not there, then you can't do that. But transitioning is simple. Pick up using numbers and move on with it. And the only way to do that is Excel, SQL, everything that we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, can I quickly jump in on that? I just wanted to come from another angle in the sense that if it depends on what you're doing as core IT. So in Canada at large, IT is a booming career. So I don't want us to be quoted here. You need to research and make sure that your area is not selling as much, because I know some like developers who are earning a lot as
Yeah.
well. So you need to research and make sure that your area is not booming. If it's not booming, or if you just have a flair for data analytics and you really want to go into it, then you can go into it. But please research in your area and field and make sure that you don't have so much prospects in it before you transition, except if you already have it in mind that you really want to transition.
All right. Cool, 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 cool. One quick question here. How deep of one's knowledge of Python language is required? Like, do you need to have deep knowledge of Python before you can function effectively as a data analyst?
I
Okay,
will say
so
no. Sorry.
Okay,
Oh,
right.
I don't know Python.
Okay,
and the
okay,
same thing applies to me. I don't know Python, and Dami was not even using SAS until she got to Canada. I started using SAS way back from UK. So you really cannot. You only need few of these languages. If you don't have Python, then have SAS and all of that. And again, the SAS that I knew when I got my first job was like 0.5% of what SAS is about. And all many of these languages, you cannot know everything. You cannot. But you just need something that helps you to get into the industry or get you a job. And you learn so many things by yourself on the job.
okay. Cool stuff. So someone says, is GDPR prevalent in Canada with specialized analyst role?
Well, GDPR, if the person will give me the full meaning of that acronym, otherwise,
I think it's
because I think I've
Global Data Protection or Privacy
okay, so
Regulation.
it's the same thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And the question is around what again?
How prevalent is that regulation in Canada as it relates to analyst role?
Strong is I mean you. So if you gather data, then you need to be very careful, and they cannot take that aspect out of it. We also what happened to Facebook, and it's still happening. They are not telling us the truth. If you have an idea of what Google knows about you or what they can tell about you in the next 2 years, you'll be shocked. And if you are, all government policies would ensure that those ones stand. And it's very strong in UK and it's strong here as well.
Okay, so it's general data protection.
Yeah.
All right. How do I transition from computer engineering to? Okay, so this is not for this question. Someone
Okay.
says, "Thank you, Olio and Dami. Really appreciate your experience and insight." Someone says, which are the core languages that one should really learn as regards to getting a job in Canada? Um, well, remember, this is data analytics, right? So if you're talking about data analytics, I think they've been talking about that since. Um, Someone says, uh, general data. Okay, thank you, Bala, for organizing this. It's been an insightful session. There's a question around HOPS. How do we join the mentorship and coaching program? Just watch out for posts on LinkedIn and the website. You will get that. Any last word from you, Dami? Last word to the guys.
I just want to say, we're in a different environment. Just keep being yourself and learn. Like one thing Olu has taught me is learning. I didn't like reading from the onset, but he can read for Africa. So once you develop yourself, you learn, you continue to grow. But if you keep being in one area, trust me, you're just not going to move anywhere. So as much as possible, if you have any opportunities to divert into something, learn, even if it's not business or data analytics, something that is you think is lucrative in Canada, please go ahead and do it. As Africans, we need to make our names known in Canada here. Thank you.
Right. Okay.
The
Olu, by the way, my co-founder said you sound like a prof already. Uh,
you mean Dami? Dami sounds like a prof.
no, like you.
Okay. Did you ask last word from me?
Yeah, last word.
Okay, I promise to make it short, if possible. I think I heard a lot of question about changing or transforming to transitioning rather transitioning. Uh, yeah, if you are at that level, I think one thing you should do is, and you really want to do analytics, you just give it a go straight, as in don't waste time. So I struggled when I started, but as soon as I started, I feel that, well, I now feel that it's nothing. It's nothing. At the moment, I don't do as much as analytics as I used to do, but
Right.
then the kind of question that I ask at work is working for me. I just ask very dangerous questions, and I just create the problem so that they'll talk about it. They'll talk about it, and we have something to talk about. And that in itself is something. So I give it a go.
All right. Thank you so very much, everyone. Thank you, Taiwo, for joining in.
Thank
Uh,
you, Bola, for organizing.
yeah, thank you, everyone. God bless you guys. If you had done a bad job presenting, we could. Okay, I don't know what Taiwo said here, but if you've done a bad job presenting, we could hope school have affected. Okay, I guess I was trying to say thank you so very much on behalf of HOPS, myself, Taiwo, and all the mentors and coaches that we have working with us. Thank you everyone for joining, most especially for the guys in from Nigeria and from the UK. Thank you so much. We will send you a link to the recording latest on Monday. It should be available by tomorrow. You should get it otherwise on Monday. Thank you so very much, everyone. Thank you, Dami. Thank you, Olu. On behalf of myself and Taiwo and every other person from HOPS, we say thank you and have a good evening. Bye.
Yeah, thank you,
And,
Taiwo, thank you.
and yeah, sorry guys. Olu's email address is um Olu's email address is
Is my name Ulukayode, H in front, H at the
yeah.
back at yahoo.com
Okay,
or at
so
gmail.com.
Olukayode, but H in front and H at the back. So HOLUKAYODE H at yahoo.com. While Dami is once you reach Olu, you can reach Dami. You can check them out on LinkedIn, Olu Shobayo and Dami Shobayo. Thank you everyone. Enjoy your evening. Bye for now.
Bye. Welcome.